All right. So we do have a few attendees just logging on, and then I have our Q&A open too. So feel free to go ahead and shoot us some questions. We'll be sure to answer those at the end. Do you think we're all ready, Abby?
I'm so sorry. I was connected to my headphones that are sitting on my desk right now. I thought you weren't connected. I wasn't connected. I'm so sorry. I was just talking. But it's good now. It's good now. I fixed it. You can hear me, yeah?
I can.
All right. Apologies. Yeah, I can kick us off. We're
Sweet.
good to go. All right. So the webinar that y'all just hopped on is part of our series for the year called Scaling for Success. We're really talking about how you can strategically scale your business and how you can market your business and make sure you're showing up the way you want to in the digital space along that growth trajectory. So today specifically, we're talking about audience segmentation and how you can craft different messaging for the different audiences that you're segmenting to, right? Because when your business is growing and you want to reach a new audience, you can't reach them with the same message that you've reached your current audience. Otherwise, they'd already be part of the audience you already have, right? So that is what we're going to cover today. A few things. We're going to talk about why it's so important to tailor your marketing per audience, how you can understand your audience a little bit better, marketing to the audience you already have, which of course you're not doing a terrible job of, but we'll still give you a few tips and tricks, and then how to engage new audiences as you grow.
Awesome. So yeah, let's just start off with the importance of tailored marketing. So everything lies in customization, fitting the right message to the right audience at the right time. So that's three different things that have to interject to make your messaging work for you. So what does that look like? That's really coming back to segmentation. Segmentation then is making those different sections of your audience so that you can make tailored marketing. So as Abby alluded to, we're going to start with just looking at your current audience. So this is somebody who has gone through the entire buying journey, the customer journey with your service or product, or maybe it's a community or event. There's still an entire journey that people go through. So we really want to look at your specific audience, and this is really research, research, research. If you don't know Keystone Click very well, we are a research-led marketing agency. So don't take this lightly. When we say knowing your audience, just beyond demographics as well, is really key. So it is demographics, it's knowing their location, their age, who they are, but it's beyond that. It's their behaviors, it's their motives. Why did they choose your product or service? How did they find you? What were they looking for before they ended up with you? So really deep research is key before we even get started with tailoring any messages. So once we do that research, then that's when we can start tailoring those messages. And that's really going to look more like exclusive offers specifically for your audience. This is really just showing the people who love you and your brand, showing them some love. So I have that as foster loyalty on here, but it can also create urgency for if you have promotions or new products. If you're really excited about something going on with your business, the people who already love your products probably want to be in the know as well. And ultimately, this is to drive conversions, whether on your website, e-commerce, or in person and in your brick and mortar store.
All right, so as we're talking about exclusive offers, especially for your current audiences, one of the reasons that we want to focus on exclusive offers is because, like Ellen was saying, you already have that audience established and you're already marketing to them well because you got them there, right? They're there for a reason, they love you. How can we continue to build that relationship, build trust, and make them into marketing tools that you can engage to reach new audiences? So there's a couple main types of exclusive offers that we're going to talk about. First is discounts and promotions, pretty straightforward, percentages off, links to specific customer segments that would use those products. That again goes back to knowing who is using what and audience segmentation, and helps show that you understand their needs and you appreciate their loyal business. Next is early access to new releases. This is especially useful if you're doing some micro influencer marketing, because you can have your influencer talk about a product or a service that's about to be launched to their audience that's already really loyal. It helps customers feel like they really are part of your team and they're really, really important to your business, as we know they are, especially for us small to mid-sized businesses. And it just helps you use their enthusiasm for your own gain. Third is personalized rewards. So these are things based off of purchase behavior. Maybe if you have a really small business with a few really big clients, questions that your clients have asked. And it helps incentivize the next steps you want them to take in their buying journey, whether that's to engage you for a product or service or to buy an add-on to a product or things like that. It really helps to encourage that repeat business to keep people walking through the door. And finally, limited time experiences. So these are things like conferences, events, galas, anniversary parties, things like that. People really love to feel like they're part of the inside group. And this is one pretty easy way that you can do that, because you're probably going to hold some of those types of events regardless. Why not invite the people that really love your brand and that have helped you get to where you are?
Yeah, so let's look at some examples.
All right, so the first one we're going to look at is limited time offers. One place that does this very well, I'm sure you already guessed, was Amazon. Amazon will show you when you open your app, open your desktop, Amazon, they're showing you today's deals that are not only just things that are on sale on Amazon, but that's not really enough, right? Because Amazon is vast, to say the least, and there are millions of things on sale every day. So Amazon is choosing today's deals that they think that you will like the most. And I know I myself have fallen victim to these too many times. As far as loyalty programs go, Sephora's Beauty Insider program is a really good example. There are tiers to this program that are honestly kind of hard to reach. You would know if you are a beauty insider. But they not only send you tips to use products that you've bought. I actually just got one of those emails the other day. I had bought a new hair mask and I got an email that had how the best ways to use that hair mask, and then also, of course, products that will go well with it, so that I then go back to Sephora and also I'm having the best experience possible with my original purchase.
I know I'm a big birthday loyalty program person too. And if there is something really special for my birthday, I am going to become a brand ambassador. Ulta, I have to go against Sephora here, but Ulta, I'm always making sure I go around December 1st. So some other examples then for like early access. This was my choice was Target's Black Friday early access. If you're part of that Target Circle family, getting this first, like the madness for Black Friday, it's so nice to see like what we are able to get access to and a little bit sooner too. I personally don't like to go in person on Black Friday, too many horror stories. So this is really just showing, there are people who are really active within Target Circle, some love. An example of personalized rewards then, Macy's here happens to know from your past purchases that you are interested in printed dresses. I do think we should be careful with this one. I think we've all seen this happen to each of us. Like if you're shopping for a wedding dress, you're probably not looking for another one 2 years later. That's a big one-time purchase. So that's really where that research comes into knowing how to segment and how to personalize. If you are offering big one-time purchases, maybe it's like a motorcycle, you probably don't want to keep marketing newer motorcycles or the specific type of motorcycle. But for Macy's, I think a good example could be, if a shopper has children, so generalized children sales or specials tailored to them, they're going to appreciate being in the know.
All right, so one of the other through lines that you'll see throughout our time together today is we're putting a little bit of extra focus on advocacy-based offers. And we're doing that specifically with your current audience marketing, but also new audiences, because you are established brands that are looking to scale, right? If you were a brand new business, we're not talking about advocacy-based offer strategies, because you need to get your customers in the door before you can create advocates out of them. But now that you've done that hard work, you can really use them to your advantage. We love our customers, but also we love what they can do for us, right? So let's talk about a few of those things. One of the ways that you can increase advocacy is through referral programs. So those are things like offering incentives for them bringing in a new customer, right? These are especially popular, I would say, with like gyms and credit cards. I see ads all the time for different credit cards. Credit card reward programs really are kind of the thing to always look back to if you're looking for ideas, because they have great reward programs that people really, really enjoy. But also they will often give you an incentive, usually cash back, and the person you refer an incentive for you to build that audience, for them to build that audience a little bit. Next is user-generated content. So this is where we get a little bit into influencer marketing, right? Especially with the rise of short-form video on social, user-generated content is really, really key and pretty easy to get, honestly, if you offer a good enough incentive that your audience will like. And that comes back to, again, knowing your audience and what kind of incentive might resonate with them. But it helps you increase your reach because you can capitalize on the audience that your users already have. No marketing is better than word of mouth marketing to the right people from people that are already customers. Everybody is more likely to trust marketing or recommendations from people they already know than they are from a company that's brand new to them. So that's why we really encourage you to utilize and leverage user-generated content and micro-influencing if that's within your wheelhouse and budget. Third is exclusive events, like we talked about before. That helps provide your customers with access to the experts at your company. You can give them some insider info, sneak peeks again, helps build community among the advocates that you already have so that they stay strong together. And then finally, I alluded to it before, is influencer marketing. Again, helps you tap into an established loyal audience. Influencers are pros at knowing what their audience wants. That's why they're good influencers, right? So if you can choose the right influencer for your brand, you will probably find decent success with influencer marketing.
Yeah, so some examples, some specifics for these types. So user-generated content, we pulled up Revel nails. So you can tell that these people love showing off their nails, their skill, and they must be brand loyal to the Revel brand. You can tell that they're excited to post, and if people want to join that community, also love Revel, they're gonna jump to be that ambassador for you since that space was created. I think Stanley Cups too is another easy example we can point to. The absolute number of channels on like TikTok and Instagram of people customizing their cups, just really creating that community for user-generated content. It's just such a great way to show advocacy for your brand. Referral rewards. Our example is Verizon. Again, this has to take a look at your ROI and what your product is worth. What is the, ultimate benefit of gaining a new customer? Like obviously Verizon has a lot more to gain by getting a new customer than they can give away $100 or $50, depending on what side of the referral you're on. But that's still worth it for them to gain then, a recurring monthly customer. All of this goes to show too, we really have to take a look at the research of your current audience. You really have to see what resonates and what motivates your audience to see which of these tactics are going to work best. I did mention earlier, if you have bigger purchases, one-time purchases, maybe updating your client over every new possibility of product you have isn't going to be very helpful. I'm going to think of like Harley Davidson. Every single type of motorcycle or product they have probably isn't going out to every single customer of theirs. But more like user-generated content, like lifestyle pictures, or events. They do have a huge event that's really going to foster their community, and that's going to be a lot more useful to foster with their current community.
All right, so now that we've got your current audience on lock, we're going to talk about how we can make a lasting impression with brand new audiences that you want to reach as you grow. So as Ellen said before, we are talking research first. You have to do the research in order to be effective going forward. So that's our baseline. Got to do it first, market research. Next is VIP treatment and really treating your customers like the lifeblood of your business that they are, and then how you can build credibility once you've helped move your customers along the customer journey and they've made a buying decision.
So researching new audiences, this can be really tricky. I think that's what a lot of our clients come to us for. So I just want to point out that segmenting your current audience to a new audience, like just making that distinction and separating those groups, truly is the first step to researching a new audience. I will also say you could look at your competition. You can see maybe what segments they have. But market research is going to be the biggest step for deciding what that new target audience is. That is another whole segment. We have a lot of content on that, so I don't really want to get into that today because that can be really tricky, but it's very important to narrow down who exactly is your new audience. Of course, you want to market to anyone and everyone who could possibly, be interested in your service, but you have to, really define that target audience so you can look at those behaviors, you can look at those demographics. If you have it too wide and too open, you can't tailor content. I think a stairway step 2 is really targeting very specific new audiences and then growing and moving beyond that as well.
All right, next up is really making those new prospects feel special once you've gotten them to engage a little bit, even if they maybe haven't made a purchase decision yet. You can still make them feel really, really special on the way to that purchase decision. So the baseline of this is wanting to offer them something that they've never seen before. And this is important because if they haven't engaged with your company yet, or they haven't engaged with a company like yours yet, there's a reason. It's because their needs aren't being met, their pains aren't being alleviated, something like that. And that's when it really goes back to the research for you to know what is something that they need, a problem that they need solved, where you can meet them where they are with something that is brand new to make their life easier or better in some other way. A few ways you can do this are subscriptions or communities, getting things sent to your door without having to repurchase. For me is amazing because I am historically forgetful. And then it's 9 p.m. and I can't go anywhere to buy what I need. So getting things sent to my door without having to go in and refill my cart, do things like that is really helpful for me as a consumer. And also creating communities if that makes sense for your business structure. Next is exclusive content and insider tips. That is something like what I was speaking about before with Sephora, those emails that they send to help you use whatever new product you got, and some suggestions for new purchases as well. And then limited time intro offers are a really, really big one. I'm sure that many of you, like myself, have made purchase decisions based not solely off of an intro offer, but you made that purchase decision when you made it because of a limited time offer that can really get those prospects that you see kind of poking around often, that can get them to pull the trigger.
Yeah, and just to add to that too, if you have a product or service that you see a lot of first-time buyers having the same questions, like frequently asked questions about, it's a really good place to say, like again, I'm just going to think of Harley. I'm just thinking off the top of my head, but maybe people have questions about helmets. And rider safety, like having an introductory offer for a discount on helmets, along with like educational content on proper helmet wearing, is really just going to show your expertise to these new customers, and make them feel special right away. Throughout reaching out to new customers, then that new target audience, you really have to focus on building trust. So these are people who haven't purchased from you yet. These are people who haven't naturally found your product. And now that you're growing, they're now being targeted. So building trust is going to be super important. And you can do this because you are a more established business and you're growing. So that looks like social proof. That means when somebody goes to Facebook or Google Maps, you're going to show up. It's not going to look like a missing address or like nobody's ever been there. It's going to be reviews. And it's going to be responses to those reviews. It's going to be engagement with your online communities. So that's transparent communication as well. And just showing too, if you have a refund policy or a warranty or a guarantee, that is going to be part of the trust building aspect of this as well.
All right, finally, now that we have captured our new audiences, we want to talk about advocacy yet again, because it really is the key to continuous scalability, right? You're scaling now, so you want to reach a new audience or two, and then maybe 5-10 years down the road, you're ready for more aggressive growth again, and you can turn that audience that once was new into advocates as well. So again, we want to reward the word of mouth marketing that they're going to do. Easy ways to do that: referral links, QR codes, personalized discount codes as well. And then of course, give that audience a little bit of love, insider tips, events, things like that. Encourage social sharing, incentivize that, gamify it if you can, if that makes sense for your business structure, and then collaborate with influencers that have similar audiences.
Okay, so You know that you need to segment your audience between who you do have as your brand loyal, love your product audience and the audience that you want to target next. So next steps from here is researching those two groups completely separately too. We don't want to make any assumptions based on the two groups because that can be really illuminating as to what you're going to find. Crafting tailored messaging for each of those groups separately. I think we alluded to people who've purchased your product are probably looking for different modes of communication from you or different events or incentives from you than new potential clients. You want to stay relevant and you really, really, really have to look at your channels. That kind of brings us up to a question that came through. I already read ahead, Abby.
I did too.
But do we have a resource for finding influencers? The step first before finding influencers is finding where your current audience or your target audience lives. It doesn't make sense to look through YouTube influencers if your audience isn't on YouTube or if they don't trust YouTubers. And that really is industry specific, I think. YouTube is vast, but people go to YouTube to learn or to do like tutorials. So people who want to like the nails, they're probably not watching minutes long nail videos unless it's teaching them how to do nails instead of just like posting like their end work. So that's the first step to finding influencers. I don't know if you have anything more to add.
Yeah, I'd say if you don't want to engage a formal like influencer marketing agency, because that can get pretty pricey,
Mhm.
there are a couple things you can do. First, I'd say if you're looking at social specifically, look at hashtags. Look at the people who follow you and then the people that they follow when those things are public. You can do some loving stalking of the people
That's what
that
I was
are
about to say.
already engaged with you to find out where they're spending their time other than when they're not engaging with your brand. So hashtags is a big one. Also, you can just ask people too. You can ask your loyal customers what they like to do online, where they're spending their time. You don't have to ask it that straight up, of course. You can be a little bit sneakier with it, but just ask the people that are already engaging with your brand because while everybody is very unique and special and has their own unique array of interests, what we're really trying to do here is dial in on like those commonalities. So your current audience is a really, really great place to start. Also, I can't believe this wasn't one of the first things I said. Sorry. Um, check out what your competitors are doing. That's absolutely an option too. Um, seeing where your competitors are targeting the people that you want to target is a really, really good place to start.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we have one other question. So they are a small business with a tight budget. We know that. What are some cost-effective ways we can create exclusive offers? So I think in a lot of the examples we give, I know we talked about, exclusive offers or like the rewards program does cost money. But a lot of things don't have to cost money or touch your bottom line at all.
Mhm.
The number one thing I think is just giving access to people who love your brand first. So that early access, that makes them feel special. You can
Mhm.
see too, you can kind of see how uh, things are going to go by rolling out to, your current audience first.
Mhm. I would also say, just to add on to that, Ellen, um, even though There's lots and lots of content out there. People are still content hungry from the brands that they really, really love. So if you can just have content of whatever would make the most sense for your business, of course it varies a ton between like B2C, B2B, and then even within those buckets. If you can have content or maybe tools or like tutorial videos behind a paywall, and the paywall is just a purchase decision, that's time that you have to spend making that content, but to have it live somewhere online is pretty cheap. And then you can still help kind of massage that audience and massage those new customers a little bit.
Awesome. Well, those were the only two questions I see in the chat. So I'm going to go ahead and move on. So yeah, here's kind of like our exclusive content. You guys love us. You've heard our webinar series. You're here today now. We want to offer this. So this business growth resources to reach your fullest potential in 2024. So this is just a resource for you for watching. I do think this is a pretty good resource. So I'll give you a moment to whip out your phone and decide which camera has the best QR code scanner. All right.
All right, so we would love it if you joined us at our next webinar as well on March 21st, also a Thursday at 1 p.m. Central. This one's going to be really juicy. We're talking about a house of brands versus a branded house. What's the difference and how you decide what the right choice is for your growing business. If you are really looking to scale this year, and the way that you're going to do that is through some acquisitions, this is one you're definitely not going to want to miss, because you want to have this choice made ideally before you make that acquisition, so you are ready to hit the ground running when everything goes through.
Yeah, I would say too, this is really important if you're a business owner or you are part of a business that has a really personable like CEO or owner. And maybe their personal brand is different from, you know, the actual company's brand. That's also part of this conversation. So I'm really excited for this webinar. I think there's going to be a lot to it. Awesome. Here's our contact info. I hope it's so easy to get in touch with us. Thanks for watching. I know Abby and I can talk about this for forever. We've had to cut out a lot of this just to stay in time. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. This should be available to rewatch and download through email as well.